Good afternoon, Helen. So we are here at EuroCALL, and did you enjoy EuroCALL so far?
I think it's been fantastic. It's been really, really good to meet up with people who share the same passion about languages, but particularly about technology. So, and as a secondary school teacher, for me, there's been I've learned a lot about research, words, and although I won't necessarily be putting it directly into practice in my own context, it's really good to know about it.
Yeah, I mean, I listened into your presentation and I was fascinated. And tell us a little about it, because one thing that really got me very interested was when you said that you're using video with green screen to apply that in virtual worlds. And could you explore a bit on that?
Certainly. This is a project which has been set up by Southeast Grid for Learning. Somebody called Chris Pym got in touch with me and said that he would like to use me and a group of students to try out a technique which he felt would really engage students. And I can tell you already we're nearly, I suppose, 3/4 of the way through the project, and it certainly has got students very, very interested. And what we're doing is starting from the idea that to make students work collaboratively, it's good to have a project. Students are motivated by making films. Students don't necessarily want to be in the films themselves. There are some who like to be filmed. There are some who really are just interested in making things. And so what we've done is we have filmed students who are happy to be filmed as people in front of green screens. So we've used those films. So we went around the school, we picked on some people who were very sporty, some people who did magic tricks, some people who are very good at drama, some people who sing as well. And we have captured them, but with the green screen, meaning that we would be able to put any background to that. Now, the type of background that most people are familiar with for green screen technique is to have a fairly static background. It could just be an image, or it could be a video that's already been made. But Chris's idea was, wouldn't it be great to give a really professional background, something from Second Life? So often in schools, when you film students, in the back they've got lockers, they've got peeling paint off the walls. He said, wouldn't it be great if we could make it look really professional, like a YouTube video? And of course, students love watching YouTube videos. And you could film the background from Second Life. Not only that, his idea was that we could get students to be, those students who are not so comfortable to be videoed themselves, could take on the form of an avatar. So to give you an example, we have one student who did a magic trick in front of everybody with the green screen, is happy to be shown. And we've now filmed something from Second Life which looks a bit like a nightclub. And we've got people sitting there on stools, but as avatars. So we've managed to make it that you'd be able to combine those people who want to be avatars with those people who are happy to be filmed. And the whole thing, even though it's a very, very early stage, I feel has got a lot of interest, a lot of motivation, a lot of fun, a lot of collaboration. So my idea is that this is something I'd love to carry on doing, and wouldn't it be just wonderful as a language teacher if we could make it that my students were collaborating with Germans, with French, with Italian, to do something similar.
Absolutely. And how would you use the films? I mean, the ready productions, how would you use them?
I would say the most important thing in all of this would be the process of production. To be honest, it's nice to feel that the product would be probably a very much better quality than just doing something in the class without this background. But in fact, it would be lovely to be able to say to them, in the purposes and overriding purposes, we could build up a whole series of videos where you could have subtitles in French. Well, first of all, where you could add sound tracks. Because the experience we've already had of trying to do this sort of thing in Second Life is that sometimes the sound quality is not very good. And that if we're really trying to come up with something that's professional, that can really spoil it. So from the outset, we haven't made it so that we've recorded any soundtrack. Our idea is we would then put the soundtrack in as an extra layer. You could have the soundtrack, but then you could also have subtitles. And it's great. I've just met a German teacher who's a Dutch teacher of German.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
would be interested in doing this.
Yeah.
And we were saying, yes, we could create something with, at the end, subtitles in German, which is the target language, but also in English for the English students.
And in
for
Dutch.
the Dutch students.
Yeah, fantastic.
And having just been here for a couple of days already, there's no doubt about it, you learn a lot, don't you,
Yeah.
by seeing words written, and you can perhaps work things out. So who knows, my students could get something out of it, learning German, but also might learn a bit of Dutch.
And have you ever, well, you have created machinima, as I know, and have you used these machinima in the classroom?
Well, I did create some machinima a little while ago where I deliberately scripted various scenes where an imaginary, well, not imaginary, virtual people were selecting a holiday home. They were deciding whether they wanted that one, or that one. I deliberately made it that all of the vocabulary used was at the level that my students would understand.
Okay.
Did it all in French. I'll confess, I've used it a little bit, but yes, the thing that I've said to you about the quality of sound was the issue. I didn't have really always a good enough quality of sound.
Okay.
So I find that perhaps it's particularly teenagers, I don't know, they can be a demanding audience.
Okay.
And the minute something doesn't look quite as professional, sometimes that can be a bit off-putting. So my idea was, I've got all of the video, I would like to now make sure that redo it, but make it a much better sound quality, so that what they're listening to is really good quality, because that's the aim of showing it to them, is that they're actually hearing a very high level of, and also the other thing is I'd like it to be authentic, spoken by a native speaker.
Okay.
The ones that I did, I was speaking, there were other people. I'd really like to make sure that what they're listening to is native speaker quality.
And one last question. Do you see difference in teaching with machinima or videos? Or is it the same in the tasks you set, or is it different?
Well, from the point of view of watching videos of machinima, I find that students, they are motivated by seeing anything that's moving. I mean, when I'm teaching now, more and more, I'm trying to make it that, yes, we have the book, but if I can just quickly put something and get an example of that word in context on a moving image, they will watch whatever the quality.
Okay.
So video definitely motivates them. And as I've said, I think the making of the video for teenagers, sometimes I think it can be quite off-putting, the idea of they themselves are going to be in front of that camera.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've experienced this, but sometimes with young people, you'll take the camera out and immediately they're like this. No,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So sometimes I think people aren't always aware that although the students like this media, they don't necessarily want to be in it with a public audience, maybe with themselves, with their friends.
If they produce them, they create them, that makes a big difference, Yeah.
But that's where I feel that the Second Life could be something where, for those who are really uncomfortable about that, they would do it already at a very, very low-tech level. I've got lots of little puppets in my classroom.
Really? Oh,
I've
okay.
recently bought, this was an idea someone gave me, you can buy in these party shops masks for famous people. And people think I'm mad, but in my lounge at the moment, I've got about 20 of these masks of Barack Obama, of various pop stars. Behind a mask, they will sometimes say things that they wouldn't want to do.
Absolutely,
So, and I think this is really, if you like, an advanced way of being able to get that effect.
Okay. Well, thanks a million for your time. It was nice to meet you here and to talk to you in real life. You know, I've only known you as Carelia in Second Life, and you've known me as Letty. So I think I have a different attitude now when I see you in world.
Well, and thank you as well, because certainly it is by looking at videos and seeing videos that can really be a spur to think, yes, actually this really can work. And to have people like you who can really make things a little bit easier for us, because you've already seen the pitfalls. And because one thing I would say is, I think for anybody starting out on this, it can be very, very time consuming to start with, and that's where I think it's good that people like yourselves, people have actually already had experience of this, and you can speed it up for us.
Yeah. Thank you.